Footy
And we're
talk.
off.
Although we're
Well,
actually going to
kind
start with
of.
F1 today because Anek texted me yesterday about Lewis Hamilton. We ended the last show talking about F1. And yes, so you texted me yesterday about Lewis Hamilton. And I have to say, so I hate Lewis Hamilton. I'm a Lewis Hamilton hater. I'm a Max
Yeah.
Verstappen fan. That being said, I was really happy about his win yesterday. And
Your
here's
reaction surprised me.
it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
was
like
expecting a run.
it's kind of like, the best way to think about it is like Real Madrid versus Barcelona, right? And like if you're a Real Madrid fan, like it's kind of like when Messi won his World Cup. It's like it's hard in that situation. Like you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm happy for him,
Got to
give him
give
his
him the flowers.
flowers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Like Lewis Hamilton, like this gonna sound kind of condescending, but we're not fighting against him anymore. He hasn't won a race in 3 years. So it's like he's not a threat. So like I'm not scared of him beating Max. And for me, it's like he hasn't won in 3 years. So one thing that he talks a lot about is how like Silverstone just gives him energy. And Silverstone is it's his home race and how he loves it so much. So he broke the record for most wins at one Grand Prix. And it's at
Yeah.
Silverstone, and it's after not winning for 3 years. It's like this is his last year in Mercedes, and I have to say I'm happy. I'm happy that he got that. You know what I mean? And like even Max Verstappen congratulated him. Like everybody did. So it was like, look, we're all happy for you, type of thing. You know what I mean? So you
Fair
know,
enough. You don't think, like it's a threat, like him starting to win again, him getting that feeling won't be like a threat moving forward. Like
I
be
mean,
back for it again, gets
here's
on a
the thing:
good
we'll
team.
cross that bridge when we get there. Is my feeling. But
It's
also
slow. It's a slippery slope in
like I
terms
will say it's another thing is that like so Red Bull is kind of hobbled this year because our chief engineer left.
of
And
the issue.
so what I'm rooting for every race is not so much for Max to win, but for different teams to come in second and third.
Challenge,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that they keep on, because if one team keeps on coming second, then they're going to
Gonna
become a
catch up.
threat.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
right
yeah.
now, every other race, it's either Ferrari or McLaren or Mercedes, and they keep on swapping. So I'm happy because we get the same amount of points every week, and so they all have to swap it around. So hopefully we'll still win this year.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Also,
that was our F1 bid. Let's talk about Southgate. How are you
I mean,
feeling?
okay, not to sound wish-washy, flip-floppy. Like I said, even if he wins it, I think he has to go. But it was just nice. So England and United are two different sort of allegiances for me. I am club before country. I'm not going to deny it. Like United is everything to me. I want England to do the best. Don't get me wrong, especially when the United players there. But the club rivalries run so deep. It's hard to root for like even though you do, it's hard to root for like the Liverpool players or the Chelsea lads or the City lads. But
Do you mind if I interrupt for a second? Do you think so? My feeling about it is this: do you think that that's because club football is just more relevant nowadays? Like, if
it's
this was
just
the
more
1980s, do you think that you'd be more of a country over club guy?
for me. It's country over club just because of the club is every week. You know what I mean? It's relentless. It's in your face. It's everywhere. And as we've said before on this show, the expansion of the Champions League, the fact that it's reaching America now, club
Yeah,
football is every. International's always been kind of on the back foot a little bit. Don't be wrong. When England play, it's everything England. But
yeah.
I think for me, the difference here with Southgate is, if United win, it's good, but United need to win a certain way. Like I demand as a fan that United play good football and win. I don't think I'm asking for too much just because the pedigree and the history, flying wingers, scoring lots of goals, exciting football, edge of your seat stuff. England, just because we've been so dog shit in my lifetime up until the last couple of tournaments, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, fuck it. Even if we go with like, the back five, which isn't really a sexy formation or like kind of what you want, really. You want to play with the back four and go attacking in midfield. The fact that we just played so much better in this back five, back three, whatever you want to call it, and we actually were like attacking Switzerland and taking chances, being a threat. It was so fucking easy on the eye. I actually enjoyed it. I never thought I'd enjoy watching a back five for a team or a country I support.
Yeah.
It would be cool at United. Even if United won comfortably and it looked good and we won a cup final, it'd still be a part of me like, no, fuck it, we're United. We don't play back five football. But at
Yeah.
England, under Southgate, it's what worked in 2018. Shit, if that's your system, man, you know what? Roll with it. Fuck it. No one's gonna complain. Win us
I
the
don't know.
fucking Euro.
I think it was a
No
back
complaint.
three though. I think it was a back three though. I think it
Back
was a
three,
three
but
four
then
three
three,
because
four, three when we're attacking though. But I think when we
yeah.
defend, it would be the back five. So I'm always looking at it from a defensive perspective.
Oh, okay.
Attack, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these days, even in a 4-4, in a 4-3-3, you're playing really with more than four at the back because you're attacked. It's more the defending side of it where it's like
Yeah,
you're really back five and you're sort of narrowing the space and making sure you congest that middle with the three centre backs.
yeah.
It worked. It looked good. We had Switzerland under the cosh a little bit. They kind of scored I don't want to say a shit goal, but it was like kind of what the fuck out of nowhere. And you're thinking, what's crazy in this tournament, even against Slovenia or Slovakia, sorry, Slovakia is one we played.
I made a mistake earlier today when making a
It's
video.
hard. It's hard. It's hard. Like, first of all, with all due respect, it's not countries you expect to be talking about at this stage of the competition. And then the fact
Yeah,
that they're so fucking familiar, like, bear
yeah.
with us. It's 11
And the
o'clock at
flags
night.
are the same.
Yeah. So, you know what's crazy? I was thinking, oh, All Black and Skriniar play for the same country, not knowing that's literally Slovenia, Slovakia. I was like, oh, they should be a killer in defense. Like, they've got the best goal center back. But so for me, it's just the fact that it was every time we've conceded, it didn't feel like we were going out. I didn't see the Saka goal coming, I'll be honest. I texted all the Arsenal boys, got the Irish lot in Belfast. I was like, fucking hell, Saka's finally pulled it out of his arse and done something. Just to,
Yeah.
give him a bit of shit. Like, Saka's world class. But yeah, I just didn't feel like we had 15 minutes to go and Bolo scored for Switzerland. And I was like, oh, fuck, what a shit goal to give him. But it wasn't like old school in England where it's like, fuck, we're out, we're defeated. I was like, nah, not just after the last game, even the last game, obviously after the Bellingham and Kane heroics, you're like, oh, we're never out. This is that weird tournament, like we're never out of it.
Yeah.
And I think now for me, which is it's kind of scary because this always happens, the pride before the fall. I am now finally believing that, you know what, we might just fucking pull this thing off. I think we definitely get to the final if we get our shit straight. I think Netherlands are there for the taking. If we play this back five, back three against Netherlands, I think it's gonna be a really fucking exciting game because the Netherlands are counterattacking as shit. And if we just go for it as well, you might not see a lot of goals, but you'll see a lot of fucking chances. You'll see a lot of chances in that
I mean,
game.
the
A lot
problem with Netherlands, the problem playing Netherlands is that, like, as we talked about, their attacking three is not world class, but it is perfect for the system that they run. Like, they are a
exactly. Yeah.
counter-attacking team, and
Hey,
Bergwijn is one of I would take Bergwijn over most players in football in a
he's a tasty
counter-attacking.
player. I liked him even at Spurs. I remember when Spurs got him, and I was like, this guy's a fucking tasty player. He can play. He's got a decent shot on him. He attacks his fullbacks. Like he's got something about him. I was surprised. It was a proper Jose signing, like an out and out winger that just goes for it.
I would even make an argument, and I mean, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole because I'm not going to defend it strongly, but I think there's even an argument to be made that you could kind of would rather have Bergwijn in a counterattacking offense than even Holland. Because Holland can't really control the ball. He can like if you have a really good defender, he can really take Holland off of his rhythm where he can counterattack. But Bergwijn, he's so there's this quote by Maradona when they won in 85,
Yeah.
where he was like, this guy, he's sneaky as a fish. and that's kind of what I think about as Bergwijn. No, I'm talking about when they won the Scudetto with
Oh,
Napoli.
sorry. Apologies.
Yeah.
Apologies.
But yeah, so I agree. I mean, like, I had that same feeling when you guys went down 1-0. That was like, hey, you
I
guys,
think
you guys can get it. Like, I have always been skeptical of Saka, but I think that if Saka like has a good tournament and then has a good year of Arsenal, I think he gets into that category. But when people are talking about Saka right now as like being in that category, that's just silly. That's just
For
ridiculous.
me, honestly, he's one of the top maybe three performers in the Premier League the last 2 years. I just like it's two things. For me, I like winding up the Arsenal fans, especially people like just so easy to just rattle off. And then the second thing is like it's because it's this English thing. Like even Rashford, I remember people saying not obviously this year he sucked, but the previous year, 2023, first time he's ever scored over 30 goals or 30 goals in a season. And other people are saying, I'm not other people like, oh my god, Rashford's world class. I'll take him out. I'm like, let's calm down. It's the first time he's done it. He's not a sprint, he's not young anymore. He's not a kid. He's 25, 26, around that time. Like he's got a way to go. He's not someone that changes the game just like that. Like he's done it. He's had moments, like Saka's had moments, but he's not someone you think like, like Wayne Rooney was world class. There's no fucking denying that because he would just take the game by the scruff of the neck if things weren't working out. And he could play in multiple positions and still fucking do damage. The
Yeah,
fact that for me, somebody play like Rashford, like I can't play down the middle, I have to play on the left. If you're world class, you can make the impact on both.
I think it's one of those things where like, I mean, this is true in all sports, I think. I mean, baseball less nowadays, but like I think this is true in all sports, but most definitely in football, which is that like people talk about stats way too much in football. Like I care about like the eye test. And for me, like when I'm watching a game, like when this player's on the pitch and this player gets the ball, do I say holy shit? Am I scared if I'm the other team's fan? Like as much as they shit on Mbappe, like when Mbappe's on the pitch and he gets the ball, like I'm not happy. Like I'm not a happy person. Like when Vinny gets the ball, like no one wants to see that if you're rooting against Real Madrid. And when Saka gets the ball, it's just like, okay, like fine. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't instill that fear in the opposing fan base. Again, not saying he never will. I'm just saying I don't think he's there yet. But like for me,
I
like
think he's only well on his way. He's definitely well on his way. It's just that consistency now where like, all right, can he that goal against Switzerland was a beauty. Now, can he do that 2 games in a row or like 2 out of 3 games? Can he bang in from the
exactly.
that's what we were waiting for something like that to explode. And like he's been doing it for Arsenal for the last 2, 3 years. And even when he got the ball, I didn't pay too much attention. I just remember it hitting off the post and going and thinking, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I just turned around to I was watching with my dad and my family, and I was like, we're not losing. I knew we weren't going to lose before, but we're definitely not. We might win this in regular time, let alone. I didn't think it was going to take us to penalties, which was a bit unnecessary, even though we came out looking pretty good. But let's be honest, I was a bag of nerves. I was like, fuck, Cole Palmer, just because he's been on for a little bit, and then Trent's only been on for like 6 minutes maybe before he took it. And obviously he's so technical, there was no doubt. But you just think,
Yeah.
God forbid, he's had such a tough tournament. Like, please don't let him miss because you want him to kick on now and help us win it. But
That soccer goal was kind of like a Chouameni goal, where it just comes out of nowhere, where he's just like walking around and then he shoots. You're just like, why was he shooting? That makes no sense. But it is that thing like we are talking about last week, where like there's a fine line between flops and a Real Madrid, between
yeah,
somebody who like is a cardiac kid versus somebody who's been there before and knows how to deal with the pressure. And I really do think that England's turned that corner. Where like
yeah,
as you said, like when they were down one, you were like, we've got this. And then they
yeah.
went to penalties, and penalties, because of 3 years ago, is the real, fear.
Even 3 years, look at our whole history.
Yeah.
I mean, the big changes, we hadn't won a penalty shoot, and I don't think ever or in stupid number of years. Colombia in 2018 in the World Cup, that was the first penalty shoot, and that was Gareth Southgate's first penalty shootout with us. And it was like, fuck. Oh, and everyone's, oh, it's only Colombia. Like, fuck it. We've lost, we lose on penalties against anyone. That was the real turning point for penalties. So when it came to 3 years ago, the Euros, I was actually pretty confident, even though the Italians are brilliant at penalties and their keeper was always immense. I
Yeah.
actually felt like we were going to beat them on penalties. It was more of a shock factor, given again we had Saka, Sancho, Rashford missing. That was a shock that all three of them missed. So coming into this now, it felt a little bit like because Saka took the third penalty, I believe. Yeah. And even then, you're just praying. You're like, he's going to score, but like, God forbid, don't let him miss because he dealt with so much shit when he missed
Yeah.
3 years ago. Like, you talk about Vinny complaining about racism. Saka got so much abuse from his own
Yeah.
fans. It's disgusting. So it's just like, please don't let him miss. And you think, oh, Trent as well, because he's had a tough tournament. Please don't let these guys miss. No one should miss, but please not these guys because they've already got the world on their back. You don't want them going through more shit, God forbid.
It was one of those
But
things that like if literal Nazi wrote that script, he could have written it better 3 years ago, whereas the three black players, like
and
and
Sancho's about to sign for United. Rashford's at United, and United fans, we're just getting it from all. Oh, you lot dropped the ball. Your players are ain't shit. And then that's
yeah.
one thing. Then obviously the other side, the race thing was just it was unnecessary.
Which, by the way, like and I've I don't want to say this sentence this way, but like I've defended people hurling abuse in sports because I do think it's
Yeah.
part of the game. But like that 3 years ago was like a little bit,
Social media doesn't help. All those fucking stupid
yeah,
posts people get. Too many people have voices, and it's just like shut up. Like
yeah.
just leave. Like it's a football game. End of the day, like we're back here now. Now imagine. Obviously, it can't be Rashford and Sancho because
It's
they're not there.
also such a coincidence.
Yeah,
You can't make any
but
point about it.
yeah.
It's just a coincidence that these three players missed. You know what I mean? Like it's
You
nothing
know
to
what's
do with
crazy is
anything.
so Rashford and Sancho can't obviously really help this time round, but imagine Saka wins it.
Yeah,
Now, really, he should be allowed to talk shit back to every single cunt over there that wrote that stupid nonsense, or every
they
single cunt that
should.
wrote that nonsense should face him face to face. Be like, all right, now what, bitch?
Yeah.
Here's your fucking European trophy, you dumb cunt. You're still broke. You're still in your mum's basement. You're still on the internet. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
So
definitely. I completely agree. And I mean, it would be nice. I mean, my question for you is this. So let's say England win and
yeah,
Kane finally wins a trophy. Do you think that he can go back to Bayern Munich and have them finally win a trophy at Bayern Munich after all this year?
They made some really shrewd signings. So it's like, I mean, they signed Michael Olise like yesterday or today, which came out of nowhere. I thought Chelsea and United were really pushing for that. I thought he
Yeah,
might go to Chelsea, but the fact that they just got Michael Olise from Palace out of nothing, they're looking at a few other players as well. I think they're making some shrewd signings. Again, Company, let's see how he is as a manager in a big team. No offense to Burnley.
yeah,
It can hurt. Let's see. Again, it all depends on what Leverkusen do, and it depends on what Bayern do. But at the moment, I wouldn't knock Bayern potentially retain or getting their crown back. Let's say, for example. So, I mean, if Kane trophies, when you win the first trophy, it only helps you. You know, opens the floodgates. You can end up winning dozens. Look at your Carvajols and all them lot, Modric's and everything. So yeah,
yeah,
maybe even though it looked more likely he was going to win something at Bayern and then help England, it might be the reverse where he actually helps England and then he goes back to Bayern and then kicks on, which
yeah,
nothing's stopping them. Essentially, let's say they fucking do the league and Champions League double next year. No one's talking. Then everyone's like, oh, fuck it. What Kane curse? Like, he's laughing now.
yeah.
He's got a league title. He's got a champion, 2 European Cups, one at the country, one at club level. So it's all relative. It can turn around very quickly in football, as we know.
Yeah, no, I
So,
and I'd be. I mean, the thing about Kane is that again, like I talk a lot about the curse, but I don't hate him. I don't think anybody hates Harry Kane. Like I can't. I don't
no,
know
no,
of anybody
not
who
hateful. No,
dislikes
no,
him.
no. He's not like a polarizing guy where it's like in your face or he says anything too abrasive or anything like. He's just a bit just like normal. Like he's just there in the background, a bit plain, which
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with. But you just kind of give him shit because obviously Tottenham used to get a lot, or still get a lot of shit, being Tottenham.
What happens if Kane wins the Euros, wins at Bayern, and then wins the World Cup? Like that must be the most dramatic change of an opinion on a player of all time, right? Like
See, thing is, I have friends that are so stubborn, like they'll still say, "Nah, he ain't shit. He just scored a couple penalties." Like we'll stick to our guns, we'll stick to our principles, no matter
that's
what. We'll go
true.
down this shit. But the thing is, and the funny thing was Kane as well against Switzerland. He looked a bit more like his old self. Because up until now, I was kind of giving him like half an excuse. Like, look, he had that back injury at Bayern towards the end of the season. I've had back injuries, not saying I'm a footballer or anything, but like, that it can be really debilitating. You can't really move like you normally would when your back's not 100%. It's a critical part of you. So for someone
Yeah,
like him that's not really moving too well, he didn't look like he was super interested. We kind of gave that excuse. The pundits in the UK were saying, oh, is he 100% fit? Should he be playing? Should Watkins come in? Tony come in? Um, but against Switzerland, he kind of looked like his old self. So again, maybe it was the formation, the tactics, not knowing positionally where
three
he
four
should be,
three
which is
man, three
yeah,
four
it's I
three.
mean, it's what's they came up with Gareth Southgate back in Southgate was appointed after the 2016 Euros. So let's say he's been there since 2016, but really we saw the results from 2018 onwards. That 3-4-3, the five or the three at the back, that's really what kind of captured the nation's hearts in the 2018 World Cup when we were scoring five in each group stage game almost. And like, the attacking football, the flying wing backs. Like I said, with England, me personally as a fan, I'll give them the leeway. Fuck it, play whatever formation. Just make
Yeah,
it half decent on the eye and just go for it. With
yeah,
United, it's different pressures because the pedigree of the club and stuff. We have different expectations. If United start playing five at the back, I'm upset. Even if we're winning,
yeah,
I'm upset. We have to play a certain way. We are Man United. Same thing with Liverpool. Same thing now with City, Arsenal, Chelsea. Kind of always been that one club that kind of played the boring football, but they just grinded out results. They're
yeah,
trying to change that now with Maresca. They tried changing it with Poch and Potter. So everyone's kind of like we said before under Guardiola. Everyone's trying to go down the attractive football route. But before there was a Guardiola, before there was all of this, a Klopp, United always played a certain way: 4-4-2, flying wingers, edge of your seat stuff. So if Ten Hag, there's a certain pressure on playing a certain way.
yeah,
Ajax have the same sort of things. Your Real Madrids, your Dortmunds, your Bayerns, Barcelona, of course. So for England, I think I personally more than tolerate. I enjoyed the game. I don't want to say take credit, but like a lot of people, all of us were calling it even a week before. Oh, we're not going to change too much. I knew the formation had to change after watching towards the extra time of that Slovenia game. The control we had, the focus, just the relaxation. You knew we weren't losing in extra time against Slovenia. So sorry, just
yeah.
bear with me just give me 1 second.
I'm not editing this out, just so you know. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that I texted you that I really loved how Southgate ran the 3-4-3. I think that the real beauty of England this game was that they were aggressive. Like in the last games, and we're talking about this, right? You can play defensive style if you want, but when you play a defensive style, you still have to have aggression to it. I was just talking to make sure because I'm not
No, no,
angry.
no. I was here honestly. I was muting myself because there was sort of fucking flying bug in the room. I had to get rid of it. It was ridiculous. Big bug.
Yeah, no, like I mean, like I think that the beauty of their style, and then I do want to move on to Spain, Germany, because I was completely wrong about that. But the beauty of their style was that they played defensive still, but they were aggressive defensively, and that's the
Yeah,
important thing is that they were
just
they
yeah,
played
on the
defense
front
with
foot, whatever
aggression.
you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
And it's
so I
interesting.
was wrong about Spain, Germany. I'm
Yeah,
happy to be wrong, by the way. Like I'm happy that I was wrong about this. This is a great team, great win. What were your big takeaways? Do you think that Spain can go all the way?
I think Spain. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's even as an England fan saying that, I think the winner of that bracket of Spain, France is probably gonna win the tournament. My head is saying, obviously, my heart's saying England's gonna beat everyone now moving forward. It's interesting because the Spain Germany game really should have been the final. If you're looking at teams in form, highest scorers, the most entertaining football of the tournament so far, it's other than Turkey. Turkey just absolutely nuts, even though they went out. What a great
Yeah,
performance for them tournament. But Spain Germany really was the final the fans deserved. Like just both teams going for it. Germany actually dominated not dominated, but they had the higher possession numbers, which has never happened to a Spain team in donkey's years. So it
yeah,
really makes you like what could have been. It was a last gasp win. I was kind of looking forward to the penalty shootout. I think the game deserved to go to
me
penalties. It
too.
was pretty good. It would have been very high drama, of course, going to that. But Spain is Spain, and they've had this bit of a hoodoo over Germany in recent years. Euro 2008 final, World Cup semi-final in 2010. They've kind of had the better of this German team quite a bit recently in recent history. So I'm excited to see Spain France tomorrow. I think it's a complete clash. I think France are going to be ultra defensive. They're not coming out to play, even though they could.
Yeah.
Spain can go out and do their thing. I hope, obviously, for the French friends that I have, Footie and the boys. I hope France do okay because it'd be nice to see. I'd love to see England France in the final as long as we win. It'd be criminal if we lost. I couldn't face these guys.
Which of the two teams would exercise more demons for you, France or England? Do you think? Sorry, France or Spain?
If in terms of if we beat them,
Yeah, like
I don't
who
really
do you have
have
the
a
most
rivalry.
first history with?
Yeah, oh, definitely France. We haven't played Spain too many times, to be honest. And Spain kind of emerged as a dominant force after, like, around 2008 time, 2008 to 2012, they were the dominant force. We
Yeah,
didn't qualify for Euro 2008, which kind of tells you where we were at the time. But we
yeah.
had the poor guy. I like Steve McLaren. He's a good assistant, but he's not a top manager. The title was Wally with a brolly. We fumbled the bag in the qualifying stage. So Euro 2008, we're not even there. So watching Spain win, no problem. They played the best football. This is when Barcelona were just starting to start cooking again. So we didn't mind. As an England fan, I was like, oh, this is great. We're watching like the most attacking team with the best football. So Euro
Yeah.
2008, no problem. World Cup
It's
2010.
interesting that they were so good those years because Real and Barcelona hated each other those years. Like that was
But
like
those,
pinnacle,
yeah. So
and
that
then
was
it was
Mourinho versus Pep.
together.
And so that's what's so interesting with just to sidetrack briefly, the golden generation England players in the past saying, you know what, we had the talent, we just couldn't make it work because the club rivalries were too big. You got Sergio Ramos and Carlos Puyol pushing each other, fucking trying to swing on each other at one point.
Yeah,
Casillas and Valdes kicking off. It's full like Barca Real Madrid rivalry. But when it came to the national team, fuck it, like some sangria and some paella, shit worked. Like they just figured it out and they were hugging each other. They fought for each other. That's always my one big argument. Not that I'll ever meet. Maybe I might not ever meet some of these, like a Gary Neville or someone. But if I was to ever see them, not to like throw them under the bus, but like, what makes you think those guys could make it work and we couldn't? Because you can't say the rivalry wasn't deep between Barca and Madrid. Like
I
it
in
gets more than football. It gets political with the Catalonia and the things
oh
with
yeah,
Spain on go. So it's like
that
it
they
it
literally
runs
fought a
deep.
war with each other
It
like
runs deep.
20 years
Like
ago.
yeah, if they
No, I,
can,
I mean I
what's
mean
this
like
United rivalry like?
I was watching the documentary "Take the Ball, Pass the Ball." I've seen it
Yeah.
like 10 times. I love the documentary, and they're talking about how in 2010 they were showing the video of the Pepe red card against
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
in order to show like what's acceptable, what's not, and literally there was like an all-out brawl in the film room because the Barcelona players and the Real players were fighting with each other about it. But then, as you said, like when they got on the pitch they're once
Guys for
more
each other.
united,
Yeah.
and England, couldn't
What is
muster
the
that.
excuse? Yeah. What is it? Selfish. For me, it's a little bit selfish. Like, oh, you didn't want to, what you were giving someone too much shine, or you didn't want, like, you felt it was taken away from you, making someone else look good, especially that
Yeah,
Gerard Lampard midfield. I personally, not that, again, it's just my opinion. I just always felt like Gerrard gave more to the shirt in England than Lampard did. Lampard almost was a bit selfish and always felt he had to get the goals or run forward. There was never that sort of, all right, let Gerrard go forward a bit. I'll sit back for this one, then we'll rotate. Whereas, with
Yeah,
Spain, with other teams, they make it work. There's flexibility. I definitely think there was a bit of selfishness on the Chelsea lads, Terry, Lampard, Cole, these boys kind of doing their own thing. And it might have been the United boys as well. We don't know. I can't say United, their players, obviously, our players all sat amongst themselves in the England camp and didn't really integrate too much as well. So selfishness overall, I think,
yeah.
from the
No,
boys, a little bit of naivety. But yeah,
I
Spain
mean,
came together.
this Spain team
Um,
is really, and they're young. That's the thing. This team is this. I mean, obviously they have like Laporte is old, right? Laporte,
Laporte's about 32, 33, I'd say, maybe about
yeah.
34. He's been at City for a while, yeah. He's actually
Him and
I heard,
Rodri are pretty old. Like they're
yeah,
30
but
and 28, but everyone else,
Laporte, you know what's interesting? Laporte is actually French. He transferred to Spain. He's actually French, I believe, his
yeah,
national. He could have played for the French team. He chose Spain through obviously the parentage or whatever. So
yeah,
that's all. Spain's obviously, I mean, sorry, France are obviously so stacked, especially at centre back. I think he's probably thinking I'm not going to get a game. And
yeah.
Spain's not a bad second choice, obviously, in
Although
terms of.
now he can easily get a spot
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
in
he should be
France.
ahead. He would be
Like
ahead of Upamecano. He would be him and Saliba ahead of Upamecano, I would
Upamecano,
say.
I hate that guy. He's
He's
like
doing okay. He's kind of, not that, obviously, I hope he has a bad game if he plays England, but he turned a corner a little bit in this tournament recently, I'd say. And then let's see, obviously, how he does against. He had a good game against Portugal.
yeah,
And like I told you in the text message as well, Roberto Martinez, first time a Portuguese team has failed to score in 3 consecutive games since 1997.
yeah,
Roberto Martinez. I'm not obviously it's you can't blame it all on him, but is it a
yeah.
coincidence? He's manager and they've had this sort of form
I
all of
do
a
have to
sudden.
say, Mike Maignan had some amazing saves that
He
game.
did. He has done
Like
well. He
he
has done well.
really. By the way, I remember I was watching. So there was like 2 3 years ago. I was still working from home and consulting, but I had a job. I had a couple clients where I was working for where I could really just not pay attention while doing the work, and so I was watching literally like Serie A rematches. I think I watched like every I was literally watching Asian Champions League last year. That's how much football I was watching.
Oh
And
wow.
I was a Panong Steelers fan, by the way. Anyway, I remember like watching. Sorry, what was I just talking about? Fuck, I had a long day, man.
Amount
Got
of
drinking
football.
Monster Energy. Who should sponsor us?
The amount of football you're watching.
Oh yeah, Mike Maignan. I was
Yeah,
watching like all of his games for AC Milan. I was just like, this boy can fucking ball. This boy,
yeah.
and like I was texting my AC Milan friends. I was just like, why is nobody talking about him? And they're like, we're talking about him. Just no one talks about Italy anymore. I was just like, okay, fair point, But
To be fair,
I think you probably get bought out by a really good team. Maybe even a Manchester United. Some team that needs a keeper. And
no, no, I'll give him a second season now. If we get Delict in and we have that sort of back three, that three of like Onana, Lissandro Martinez, Delict at the Ajax days,
yeah,
we should be better. We should be better. If he's still fumbling now this season, you get him the fuck out. We fucked that up. But I think he'll come good. It wasn't the best defense to come to as a ball playing
yeah.
goalkeeper.
But yeah, no, I mean
Um,
Portugal had a lot of good chances. There was that uh Bruno Fernandez shot that he
taking him off,
missed.
taking
Not
him
he
off was
missed, but it got
criminal.
blocked.
Taking him off was criminal though. I knew Martinez fucked up because again, this is obviously better to say easier to say in hindsight. But if Fernandez is on the pitch, Joao Felix is not taking that penalty potentially and might not
Yeah,
miss. Fernandez is
that's
missing
true.
now. So it's all hindsight. But selfish as a United fan, I love that he took him off. Rest him. Now he's back. There's a lot of talks with the Saudi clubs, and apparently United are saying, yeah, go on. If you give us a good offer, we'll let him go. Fuck it. We need him. We need him for another year or two. He's only 29. He never gets injured. We need him. There's no amount of money in the world right now because we're at a crucial stage of our development where we're signing the young players. We still need leaders in the team. We can't just buy all these under 25 players and think it's going to work. This guy's
Yeah.
been here for 6 years. He knows what it takes. He complains a little bit, but he's still a good enough player. Like you'll take a little bit of the complaining, just keep him on the pitch, man. Like if we sell Fernandez, we're in big trouble.
I think that there's this conception of Fernandez. I always think of him as Bruno, but like, where
Yeah,
people kind of think of him as kind of like a worse version of De Bruyne, where like he does what De Bruyne does, but it's not as good. But
yeah. It's
he's
I'd say
also
they're different
super
players.
athletic. Like
Yeah,
like
they're
he
different
has that
players.
athleticism that De Bruyne doesn't because De Bruyne looks and walks like an accountant. But like Fernandez could like take off. He could run. He doesn't do it a lot. He's not like, I pick your winger, soccer or whatever. But like he can move when he has to move, and he does
Yeah.
have that intelligence and that vision as well. It would be criminal if you guys get rid of him. I mean, my question for you is like, what do you think about? Because this has been a huge controversy, like starting Ronaldo. Like, do you think that was a bad decision? Do you think that was a good decision? Like, do you think they should have sat a country legend like that?
I I believe I think it was I honestly wouldn't have played him in the third group game. Like they're already qualified, they're already top of the group, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So they won the first two, I think. And then the third group game, you're like, you know what? I don't care if you're mad at me, you're 39, I'm gonna rest you. Let's
Yeah,
let Ramos, Gonzalo Ramos, let's let the other boys. Otherwise, what's the point of bringing them if you're going to keep
yeah,
playing the 9-year-old? And that's where not just Martinez, other managers, the last Portuguese manager benched Ronaldo at the World Cup and got a lot of stick for it. But fucking he brought on Ramos and the guy scored a hat trick. So you can't fucking knock him for it. Ten Hag had a lot of issues with benching him. Ronaldo, when you're that good and that driven, it's a great thing, but it can be a double-edged sword. Like where you want
yeah.
to play everything, it
We
kind
were
of have
talking
to.
about this the other day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't be petulant. You have to be realistic. Like you're 39. Are you going to be able to play every game? Selfishly, you might want to, but then how about you take a break in the third group game? You're not needed. And then you're super fresh for the last 16, for the quarters, for the semis. I mean, I love Ronaldo to bits, but sometimes his own hubris has let him down. Euro 2012, they were in a shootout with Spain in the semi-final. He went fifth. And you know what the best part was? He never got to take a kick. It was already
yeah,
wrapped up. He went
yeah.
for the fucking glory kick at number 5 and it never even got to him. So you learn from these things. You kind of have to check your ego a little bit. Yeah, you're the best in the world. You've done so much, but sometimes it is still a team sport, and a team like Portugal with so much talent, there's no excuse to have to play him every game. But Martinez isn't strong enough. He knows he doesn't have the pedigree to really be Portugal manager. So he needs to have the big boys like Ronaldo, Pepe, these lot on his side. If he loses them, he loses the dressing room.
Yeah, I
No one's
mean,
going to question Ronaldo. No, everyone's scared of Ronaldo.
I
He's
think
the guy.
I think that that's the thing that like I think coaches nowadays in general need to learn this a lot more. Me being the brilliant football analyst that I am, and then being the lowly, multi-millionaire coaches. But like one thing they need to learn more, I think, is just resting players, especially with the grueling schedule that we have right now. Like with they're constantly having games. Like you need to let these boys rest a little bit. You need to allow them to just and maybe not even sit them for a game. Maybe just say for Ronaldo, look, during the group stage, you're playing half a game, playing 45 minutes. Like that's you can choose first 45, second 45, but you're only getting 45. You know what I mean? And like just being upfront with him about that and being upfront to the press, being like, look, the guy's 39. We need him in the quarters, we need him in the semis. He's playing 45 minutes. There's nothing
Yeah,
personal. I think
yeah,
that would just have made the whole situation a lot better. But
yeah.
Pepe looked like a fucking
Yeah,
22
he
year
needs to
old.
play. He needs to play. He was brilliant. Honestly, 41 years old. What a guy. Going back to this little sidetrack. So with Ronaldo, so obviously one of my favorite players of all time. For me, United's best captain in my lifetime by far, Roy Keane. Towards the end of his time at United, it ended really badly. Long story short, he fell out with the manager.
Yeah,
He was accused of by the management and the club by accused of being like trying to be bigger than the manager, trying to manage the team. This guy, from what I've seen from the outside, I'm not in the dressing room. He always did what was best for the team. Any sort of criticism, anything was always to improve the team. And you could tell 9 Premiership titles in 11 years. Like, or 8 in 11, sorry. What the fuck? Like,
yeah,
serial winner, did everything right. Champions League semi-final against Juve in 99. It's a game worth watching, second leg. He gets booked knowing he's not going to play the final and drags us to the fucking final. Literally
yeah,
dragged us. We were down and out, 2-0 down. Scores the
yeah,
captain's goal 2-1, then gets booked, still plays his heart. He's going up against Edgar Davids, Zinedine Zidane. Like, it's crazy what he's doing. And
yeah,
he dragged us to that final. And then such a guy didn't play the final, didn't suit up, he stayed in his club suit, didn't lift the trophy because he didn't feel like he'd earned it in that game, which is crazy. And you have people like John Terry, full kit wanker, fucking lifting the trophy even though he's not playing.
yeah,
So with Ronaldo here, I think looking back now, if you look at that sort of arguments, you could potentially accuse Ronaldo of trying to like sort of managing the team or being bigger than the country, or saying like selfishly like bigger than the team, saying I need to play. I'm not.
yeah,
If you're not happy, don't make a public spectacle of it. Just behind the scenes, everyone's going to know you're not happy. We know what you're like.
yeah,
Don't fucking, be on the sidelines flipping people off or like storming and this and that. You've already won the Euros in 2016. Let these boys have a bit of a crack at it now. You are 39. Like you're
yeah.
not, you're superhuman, you're not invincible.
That's
So
true.
the fact that the manager doesn't feel like he has the power to, bench him or even give him only 45 minutes. That's kind of what Roy Keane was accused of, even though he didn't do it, and no one's accusing Ronaldo. So you sort of look at the double standard. One's a global superstar, the other one's just this crazy, hardworking, brilliant footballer that just doesn't get enough credit even now to this day.
By the way, I saw a funny thing. It was a video where someone was interviewing someone on the street, like one of those videos. It was like, who do you think is bigger, Taylor Swift or Ronaldo? And the person said, oh, of course, Taylor Swift. And then they looked through the numbers, and Taylor Swift has like 60 million, or has like 100 million Instagram followers. Ronaldo has 600 million. It was like Taylor Swift's like largest
Honestly,
stream
I would have thought
was.
I would have thought Taylor Swift as well. Honestly, just because of pop culture and the number of like Swifties
Uh,
out there. Shit,
if
I
you
would have
look
thought.
at the global numbers,
Yeah,
Ronaldo was just like
that makes me
his
happy.
so Taylor Swift's album got like, I forgot what the number was, but so whatever million streams, right, in the first like week or something.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's like press conference for Al Nasser got like twice as many. Like that's how big this boy is. Like, but yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, like, I think that yes, but also at the same time, like you do kind of need to have a last rodeo for your superstar. And so I
Yeah.
completely agree, like keeping him on, even if it might be a little bit of a detriment. Plus, you can make the argument that it inspires all of his other players around him as well.
I would never substitute him in a game, put it that way. Like he'd play
Yeah,
the full 120 minutes, whatever. Like I would never take him off. But would I play him in that third group game? And if I did, then would I start him in the last 16 or have him come on at half time to rally the troops a little bit? It's
yeah.
kind of a question of like, if do they have another crazy potent striker coming up? Like that Francisco Consal, whatever his name is, the young boy,
What's
he's
the
doing
Sal?
okay.
Yeah,
He's doing all right. Gonzalo Ramos kind of had a bit of a slow burn at PSG. So it's not really, it helps Ronaldo's case when there's not really someone like a young Erling Haaland or someone in the Portuguese setup that's like up and coming where like he's undeniable. He needs to start alongside Ronaldo in place because he's scoring a crazy number of goals. So that's why they same with Pepe. Like they have the defenders there they could play. Like Inacio's a very good pacey defender from Sporting, but Pepe's still Pepe. And then you have Ruben Diaz to cover him for the pace or the legs. Pepe's just that much of a rock. Like I said, he inspires that backline. Every tackle he celebrates. I love watching it. We love watching fucking 41 years old. It's criminal that he's out there, but he's
when he ran back for that tackle, that was crazy. Like he
and then the way he
out
celebrated as well. He just, yeah, it was
yeah.
amazing. It was amazing. We love seeing that. It's a great story.
I did have a really snarky tweet during the game where I said Pepe's 40 still on the pitch, Ronaldo's 40 still on the pitch, Mbappe's 25. He needs rest though.
That's great. Honestly, we don't know how he felt, obviously, with the facial injury, but it
Yeah,
was nuts that he wasn't involved in the penalty shootout. That was crazy. And there's no way, as much as I don't rate Deschamps that highly as a manager, I think he's just ultra defensive, but to the point where it's criminal because you have the attacking talent to win a different way. Even he must have been like, "Are you sure, Killian? Like, you sure you can't just play another?" It was only 15 more minutes. He did the first half of extra time. The
yeah,
second half, was like, "Fuck it," and I'm like, "Really, bro? Really?" Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in his shoes. How much pain he must have been in. Maybe he couldn't see straight. Fuck
yeah,
it. They're playing to penalties. France aren't attacking anyway.
yeah,
Just walk around the pitch for 10, 15 minutes, stretch a little bit, make sure your legs feel good, and just take the fucking penalty kick. You can score with your eyes closed. You're killing fucking Mbappe. And if you
yeah,
miss, God forbid, you kind of have the built-in excuse, facial injury. You have nothing to lose, really. Coming off, and don't get me wrong, I like Barcola. I'm glad he came on. I'm glad he took the penalty and scored. But that was nuts that Mbappe went off. That kind of makes me question, again, sitting here in my
yeah.
parents' study room, not a superstar, on the internet talking about a superstar, but how much does he want it? This is
That's
that PSG attitude that makes me question. And your
that's the
point at Real
thing.
Madrid, you're going to give everything. Is he going to give everything for Real? Now I'm a little bit like, if he doesn't want to step up for France, that Real Madrid locker room is absolute, probably the most demanding place in the world, let alone football. So
And
let's see how he does.
not even the locker room, man, the fans. The fans
Mm.
will kill you for that. The
Oh, the
fans,
fans will boo you no matter what sometimes. They booed Ronaldo. I wouldn't be too concerned about the fans. They'll love you and hate
yeah,
you in the same season. They can do that. They vote Modric worst player signing in history. And then
yeah,
10 years, they want to build a statue of him. So, and that can
yeah,
happen. That dressing room under Carlo Ancelotti with those players, you really have to give 110. You have to. It's
yeah.
demanding. You need to. It's a privilege to be in that team.
That's one of the things, like, again, like why I think he's a locker room cancer. By the way, if Mbappe, if France wins this year, I will kind of change my tune on Mbappe because my argument has always been about the 2018 team that it's
Yeah.
like it was superstars. Like you could put me on that team in Mbappe's role and we'd still win the World Cup. But this team,
Yeah.
I was looking at it today. It's not a great team, man. It's not. It's not. This isn't it. And so if he wins with them, I will have more respect. But like, I also remember in the Champions League final, like Haaland and De Bruyne got subbed off, or it might have been versus Real Madrid. Haaland and De Bruyne got subbed off, and it was just
Yeah,
like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like if you
Pep,
are the
Pep
captain,
came out and said they asked though. Pep came out and did say they asked to be subbed off. So he's
oh no,
quick with
I'm
it.
criticizing them. I'm not criticizing Pep. Pep would have
Yeah,
never
yeah,
forced
yeah,
them
yeah.
off. I'm just saying that, like, if you're a superstar, you need to play from whistle to whistle. Unless there's a compelling reason, you need to be on that team fighting with your boys. And by the way, do you know who is Harold G. Cade?
Yeah. He's got his middle initials G. I didn't even know that.
I just made that up.
They all call him H apparently in the camp. But you know what? You're right. Because even like, obviously, I don't like talking about Liverpool, but
It's
2005
E.
Champions League final win. E. Okay, there you go. Close
Sorry,
enough. E. Pretty close. Pretty close. Not
Edward.
bad. Edward. That's a random fact I know now. I can use. 2005 Champions League final, Liverpool Milan, 3-0 down. Didi Hamann played most of the game with a broken fucking foot.
Yeah.
Scored a penalty in the shootout. Broken foot. This is football. Broken foot. What the fuck?
By the way,
Beckenbauer.
I was in England
74
during that
arm
game.
stuck. What are you?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
in Cambridge.
oh no way. Oh shit.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, sorry, continue. I keep on
Beckenbauer.
interrupting you while you're making great
No,
points. My bad.
no problem. No, this is part of the discourse. This is about Beckenbauer in 74, arms strapped up like this, literally playing with one fucking arm.
Yeah,
That's why he's the Kaiser.
yeah.
He's the thing. Like it takes something like this, and I'm not saying play through injury, get hurt, and fucking we're not. But you know, when you see a player head bandage strapped up, there's something about that, like gladiators, warriors going for it,
It's
and
also
there's just a charm to it.
changes the complexion of your team.
Yeah, I
There
think they
really
fight
is.
harder. Yeah,
There
they
is
can
something
drag
that
someone.
to be said because you think about this like just in your work life, right? Like when you're working at a job and the boss is there until 11 p.m. every day, like it makes you work harder. And like the fact that like you see the superstar strapped up, bleeding, coughing
For
up
you,
blood,
credit for you,
but
for
he's
everyone.
still
Yeah, yeah,
playing. You're gonna
yeah.
make you're gonna make that extra tackle. Like there's a speech in have you ever seen the movie Any Given Sunday?
I need to watch it. The Al Pacino movie. That's on my list. It came up on my feed a while ago. And I'm trying to find where I can watch it. It's not on Netflix or anything, but I do need to watch that movie. I watched Field of Dreams recently, and
Yeah,
I watched Draft Day as well.
I'm gonna play this speech.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it doesn't get taken down for copyright infringement. It's about American football, but I think
I think I know what speech is. I think I've seen people play the Pacino one, right?
yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah. You can play it again. I don't mind, but yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, there you go. I think it's just muted.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. And either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen.
Great soundtrack.
And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in a mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's going to make the fucking difference between winning and losing. And dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any life in it, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals.
That's just, I got goosebumps, man.
You're motivated. I'm not gonna be able to sleep now.
Anyway, the point is you need to fight for inches. And Pepe
No,
fought for inches.
I love that they were in Raiders colors as well. That just made me happy as a
Yeah.
Raiders fan.
No, dude. Yeah, no, but by the way, as a side topic, I remember I was talking to, I was responding to somebody on Twitter, and I said that like one reason why people love watching sports is because you learn life lessons. And someone was like, no, that's not true. But like, I really feel like one of the things about sports is you learn how to, like, we're not just talking about footy, even though we're talking about footy. We're talking about lessons about life, about dedication, about going that extra mile.
Discipline.
You see with movies like this, like about leadership. You know what I mean?
Leadership, definitely. Yeah, leadership, discipline, commitment, hard work. You know, good values to instill. Then you see some players don't do that. So as your Paul Pogba's, your Jesse Lingards, not to go off on the old United lot. But yeah.
No, I mean it's true. And the beauty of football is you see that play out in front of you. You see the players who don't do that, like Paul Pogba, who don't have a successful career. It's the people who do that, like Pepe, like Sergio Ramos, like Modric, like and Messi, like all these boys have success because they care about winning. They care about their team. You see, England in the 2000s, they care more about themselves, about their club than they did about their country. And so they self-combusted, while Spain cared about their country. And so they came together and won. It's all these things together.
It's crazy. You see like these old video clips of like the Madrid and the Barca boys on the plane home, and Casillas is with his like bird at the time, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Xavi's handing him a drink. Liverpool keeper Pepe Reina's dancing up and down with David Villa with the boombox. Sergio Ramos is behind him. Like you just think like in 2-3 weeks the club season starts and they're all gonna hate each other. Like the Barca and Madrid boys, they're gonna. And in fact, that following season, like they won it in 2010, 2011 when Jose came in, and there's like eye-poking managers. They're pushing players are getting sent off left and right. Ramos and Piqué at each other's throats, Puyol, Casillas, all these lot at each other. But then again, Euro 2012, they come back together and they go and fucking dominate again, like 3 tournaments in a row.
And that year, they had 4 Clásicos in 3 weeks.
They did. Because the Copa del Rey, the Champions League semifinals. Yep.
That was crazy. But yeah, so Spain, France, who do you think is winning?
Spain. I want France to win because I want to beat. So yeah, going back to your question,
you want to beat France?
We didn't. We don't have much of a rivalry with Spain because we've never really clashed. We've never really met each other at the top like that. This will be the first time in my memory that I can remember that we're going head to head with Spain in a proper competitive game where we're going for it. France, there's a lot of history. 2004 when Rooney burst on the scene, the last World Cup, and just the proximity to France is
well,
like,
also England and France hate each other for a lot of other reasons.
Honestly, growing up, we were like, France, but I go there all the time. I have a lot of good friends there. I've had a great time in Paris, Lille, these other places. Like, I can't knock it. I'm a big fan of France. I went to Lille a couple weeks ago and I'm like yelling like, "Where's Lenny Euro? I'm here to get you, Lenny Euro, and take him back to United." Like, he's not going to Madrid, which obviously probably is now. But so I think the rivalry is just deeper with England and France, and it's that game where, like, if we win, great. If we lose, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I just couldn't face half the people. I have to turn my phone off. I have to change my number. I have to change my number. I have to. Dead serious. I'll have to change. I'm gonna have people from New York, people from Paris, people from Lille. I'm gonna have people all over the gaff just texting me like, "Oh, what happened?" These are people that don't even watch football. So when they know, France, England are playing, like, "Oh, what happened? Oh, what's going on?"
That's the worst. When people who don't even watch.
Funny, It's people we know. It's people from people we know. Like, "Oh, what happened to Nick?" I'm like, "You like tennis? What's going on with tennis? Like, why are we talking about football?"
Yeah. No, I mean, losing to France in the finals would be terrible. So in a way, I think you might kind of wish for Spain just because, like, the possibility of losing to France.
I see us beating France more likely than beating Spain. I think Spain would cut us open. They'd be like, "All right, you want to play? Let's play." And then they would just fuck us up, I think, personally.
Does Yamal get that starting spot at Barca?
Who, Lamine Yamal? Oh, yeah, definitely. I think he's had a decent tournament. He's had a good tournament, but he hasn't. I still want him to score because he'd be the youngest scorer at Euros. Just not like now. I'm saying that he'll do it against fucking England probably, but hopefully he does against France. Like, I'd love to see him, just get off the mark. It's just a great story, like a bit like the Hamilton thing, like the young player, 16 years old. He's a boy. He's not even a man, and like he's scoring at the Euros. That would be great. Like when we had Rooney in 2004, like it was brilliant watching a young player burst onto the scene. I think if we come against France, even though they have the pedigree to beat us, I think Deschamps' tactics could backfire, and I'd love to beat that cunt. I would love to beat the Didier Deschamps. It would make me really fucking happy.
By the way, everyone's talking. Sorry to switch it to club for a second because I think Spain is going to beat Spain beat France. I agree. England, I think, is going to beat the Netherlands. Yes, the Netherlands are a perfect fit for you, but at the same time, I think you're going to win. I mean, but like switching it to club, like if you look at Barcelona, like everyone talks about Madrid's youth, and I mean, they should obviously. I fucking hate, dude. So South American football sites are so fucking petty, where they put European football at literally the absolute bottom. They put it at the bottom because they, just
let them know. Just remind.
In Brazil, they like you go to ESPN, there's like the scores page. They didn't even put the Euro scores there.
Love that. I love that. Copa America's on, motherfucker. Fuck the Euros.
But like, if we look at Barcelona's squad, right? Like everyone talks about, this youth that we're seeing in Real Madrid. Barcelona have youth too. Like they always have Pedri, Gavi. I think Gavi's the best of the lot, in my opinion.
He's injured, isn't he? He's unfortunately had the injury. He had that bad injury, right? That ruled him out. Yeah. Pedri and Gavi on the scene, yeah.
I'm terrible with injuries, by the way. Like I was texting injuries and red cards. I never know. I was watching Brazil Uruguay, and I was like, "Why isn't Vinny on the pitch?" And my friend was just like, "Because he's out because of cards." And I was just like, "Oh yeah, I knew that." Like I did it.
I'll send you a funny clip. It's a legendary British English commentator. So like every Saturday they used to have like a panel, like people, because 3 o'clock kickoffs aren't shown here. It's blacked out. Yeah. So you watch the sports news channel to catch the updates. And the guy hasn't paid attention. So like, it was Portsmouth versus I can't remember now. I'll have to dig it out. Portsmouth are playing, it's a Premier League game. Someone's been sent off, he's missed it. And they're like, who's been sent off? I said, I don't know. He's like, oh, I thought he was being substituted. Like, get your hands out, count on your fingers how many fucking players are on the pitch. And then to come back to it, it's a legendary clip. I'll send it to you. It's a really funny one. Those were like the golden years of like Sky Sports News. Barcelona always had the youth though. That La Masia Academy, it's legendary. They've always had young players coming through. Madrid have been more of that Galacticos. That's why I think they're getting the props for the young players, because it's just anti-Galactico system, especially under Florentino Perez.
Yeah,
it's a different shift in strategy. It's brilliant. They're the best run club in the world right now. Them and Man City probably, and Bayern close third. But Barcelona historically have always brought the players up and then played them in the first team. La Masia, a bit like the Ajax academy, a bit like Man United's academy. They're known to bring up the youth, whereas
Oh,
we
I
do it the other way.
completely
So
agree. But just like for the
yeah,
past few years, they've been kind of mortgaging their youth for right
yeah,
now. And
yeah.
so like right now they have La Masia firing on all cylinders. I mean, Xavi was La Masia, Messi was La Masia,
Iniesta,
Iniesta, like
Piqué, Puyol,
all of them. Yeah.
Valdez, yeah. I mean, there's players out of La Masia now. Like Onana played at Barcelona for a while.
Yeah.
Who else? There's some, oh God, I've lost the top of my head now. But there's a bunch of players that they just went out early, like you said. Like what they used to do is they used to sell the youth players. So Gerard Piqué came to Man United, but then they had like a buyback option. So it
Yeah.
was kind of really smart because the talent was so good at the youth level. Big, Premier League international clubs would take the players, and then after a couple, Cesc Fabregas Arsenal, he
Yeah.
became Arsenal captain, hero of Arsenal, and then when the time was right, when he's primed and he's cooking, oh, we're ready to have you back now. Xavi's departing. We need you to come and replace. And
Yeah.
that pull lure to go back home is so strong. It's a really fucking good strategy.
Yeah.
Gerard Piqué, and you know what's crazy? Like they bought for Piqué at the time. They spent 40 million on him. I'm thinking, oh, sorry, they spent about 15 million getting him back, 10, 15 million getting back because he wasn't starting. We had Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand. He wasn't getting in that team. They slapped like a 140 million, sorry, release clause on him and thinking, what the fuck? 140? Who's going to buy him? Of being a fucking world beater for the next 10 years. And you're like, fuck, they knew all
Yeah.
along. Shit.
Oh,
They got the experience.
by the way,
So
just a funny tangent. So I was with this girl on Saturday, and I was talking about the England match, and I was like, because I was going to call you, and she was just like, "Oh, I hate England." I was like, "Oh, why?" "Oh, she's from Venezuela," and she was like, "England beat Venezuela yesterday." I was like, "No, they didn't. They're in
Women's team?
different tournaments. That's impossible." It turned out to be
Yeah.
Canada.
Oh,
She confused
close
me
enough.
with Canada.
Close enough. They have the queen on her money. I guess it's close enough.
That's true. I'll give her that. But yeah, dude, I think Barcelona is gonna be really good. Like, everyone is talking about Pedri. I think Gavi is gonna be way better. Gavi is so fucking good. Again, he's one of those players like you just watch the game and
Yeah.
your eyes are drawn to him.
Everything. Yeah. The eye test, like you said, yeah, he passed the eye test fine. The only problem again with him is in Pedri, not so much, but him, he's had a few bad injuries. So you're like, God, please don't let it be a case where like he can only play like a third of the season because they're so young. That's why Kobe Mainu, not Bellingham now because he's just a beast. But these young players, I love watching young players come out, like break through the ranks at like 16, 17, 18. But then the fear is, especially when the club's not doing well, are we putting too much burden on them? Are we going to burn them out so by the time they're 23, they can't play 2-3 games a week, which is when they should be able to do. That's like their peak athleticism, 23 to 28.
Yeah.
So that's my only young players. I think with Gavi, he's had a couple bad injuries. I think he was just ruled out just towards the end of the season. He had a bad injury and he was ruled out for the rest of the year out of the Euros. And that's your only fear. Like, you don't like seeing when a player bursts onto the scene, and some people, I say it to my friends, they take it sometimes they're like, oh, you're being negative. I'm like, I wouldn't even say like they're going to be this amazing because you don't want to jinx it. Like, you don't want them sing the praises too quickly. It's a bit of bad injury or some unforeseen bullshit happens and you're like, what could have been? You know what I mean? I'd rather just stay quiet longer and just watch them cook and then eventually be like, yeah, we all knew he was going to blow up. Like Bellingham. And now I can say hands down, oh, Bellingham's he is a superstar. He's going to be global, massive. But coming up, like when he was at Dortmund, he was killing it and he first entered the England scene. And you're watching the performance, you're like, this guy is just dominating the whole game. But I just didn't want to say it straight away because I was like, God forbid, you start singing the praises too early. If anything happens, God forbid, a bad tackle or anything off field, he does something, you're just like, oh, look at Mason Greenwood. I was singing his praises. I thought, yeah, this guy's going to kill it, double-footed, every once. And now we're about to sell him to Marseille. It's just like, what could have been?
I thought he was going to Milan.
Last I heard today, it was Marseille. Marseille put in an offer of 25 million plus add-ons and a 50% sell-on fee. So we'll get 50% of any future transfer fee.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw a story about Milan. I actually was going to ask you about that, but we didn't have time the other day. Like, what are your thoughts about teams taking Greenwood now?
I'd love him to stay, but it's untenable, unfortunately. The social pressure. Again, look, the video, the recording was fucking horrific, but we only heard 3 minutes of a 15-minute. Like, show me the other 12. And if it's just as bad or worse, fuck yeah, throw the book at him.
Yeah.
But he's kind of back. Him and his girl are expecting now. They're having their first kid together. Everyone seems to have reconciled, and the only ones that really miss out are Man United because we lose the player. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be happy. He'll play football wherever he wants. He'll make money.
Yeah.
They'll be together. Lose their family. They'll be happy. We miss out on a potentially generational striker. Selfishly, obviously, I'm saying, like,
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. It's kind of tough, and I mean, like, I don't want either of us to get canceled, but like, as you said, you're 3 minutes of like a 12-minute conversation. She, what he said was really terrible,
it
but at
was
the same
fucked up. It was
time,
very fucked up. It was messed up. It's really
like,
fucked up. Let's hear the whole let's hear the whole thing, and then throw the fucking book at him. Like, fucking, if it's prison sentence, like whatever we have to do, cancel him, just make that he can't play football at all. But just to hear the 3-minute clip, and then they reconcile, and then now he's playing football again, and it's like, wait, what?
I also and that's the thing about the reconciliation that I think changes the whole thing, because people behind closed doors can say some stuff. You know what I mean? We're like, you're talking to your girlfriend and you're like, come here, and she's like, I don't want to, and but she wants to. You know what I mean? And like, maybe they're just two really fucked up people who have that type of relationship.
Oh, audio was fucked up. What really disturbed me was the images, like the blood and the bruises.
That's true.
You don't need to see 20 images of that. One is enough. Like, that is evidence enough. Like, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah.
But then everyone just drops it on the recording. Oh my god, the recording's fine. I'm like, pictures were worse in my opinion. Just because we haven't heard the whole recording. If we heard the whole recording, really, it's all fucked up. The pictures, the bruising, the blood, you're like, yo, put this guy in jail. This is domestic abuse. But again, it's a gray area. He's a footballer.
They also reconciled.
And her dad was on his side. The dad was saying, yeah, he's done nothing wrong. So he's either the worst dad in the world or he knows something. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just,
my feeling insane about that is that, like, they're obviously like abusive situations, and we obviously need to respect that, and we shouldn't, like, cover for abusive people. Like, I don't think we should do that. I think there's also consideration that there are people who are just really fucked up people, and fucked up people attract each other a lot. And I've known a lot of people who are in really fucked up relationships, and if you just hear one side, whichever side it is, it sounds very bad. But then when you see, but like I don't want to name any names, but like there's some situations where like there are people who know one person in a relationship and they just hear that one side, and there are people who know the other person and they hear the other side. And I've been in that situation before. And then you talk to the other friend of that friend, and you hear that stuff, and you're like, wait a second, he said this, and it's a whole thing. And it's like, again, obviously he can't stay at Man United, like he needs to go somewhere else, but it is a whole situation.
For me, it's not even staying at Man United, it's just the fact that this was a promising young England international and no one was in his way, and this idiot fucking whatever issues he had, he did some horrific, stupid stuff, and now he's cost himself, because it's not just United, he won't play for England. And this is a player that potentially could make a difference for us, against a Spain or a France or whatever, against the Netherlands. And now we'll never know. So also, it's a loss. It's a double loss. He looks
like a friend of ours.
Exactly
like a friend of ours.
Similar enough. Yeah, similar enough.
Honestly, our friend, if he was single, he should go out in England. I mean, before that all happened, and be like, "Hey, I'm Mason Greenwood."
Might be a bit of a height issue, but yeah.
You can't tell on TV though.
He's in shape. He was in plenty of good shape. Yeah, he'd always clean up. That's not a problem.
I saw a video. It was like one of those reels. I think I sent it to you, where it's just like, when you lie to a girl and say you're a famous footballer, and then your buddy comes over to ask for your autograph.
I had a friend that does that. He never said he was famous, but he said he used to play for the Arsenal Academy, and he gave us your face. And we were so drunk one night, we just didn't even. I couldn't keep up. I was like, "What the fuck did he say his name was?" My reaction kind of fucked it from a little bit. I was like, "What's he talking about? He's got 2 left feet. He can't play football."
So we covered Euros. I think we both think it's gonna be Spain, England. I was wrong about both matches on the left side of the bracket. I can't be right about everything, guys. I'm sorry. Can't be right about everything. I was right about the Champions League, though. I just want to reaffirm this to our viewers. I'm right about some stuff. But anyway, one of the big stories in American football, I know you don't follow it that much,
No,
but
I'm into it, bro. I'm trying to get into it now, big time. College football and NFL. I'm
oh no,
really
I
trying.
mean the U.S. men's national
Oh,
team.
US men's team. Okay, sorry, yeah, sorry. Go
So
on,
we
yeah.
lost to Uruguay. Uruguay are a great club, and
Was that the
now,
penalty shootout? No, that was against Brazil. They just knocked Brazil out, I believe.
yeah, we got. So we, it was a whole thing. We bottled it against Panama, and we needed to
I
beat
watched your
Uruguay
video.
by two.
I watched your
To
video
beat
about
them.
the coach. I did watch your
Yeah.
video, coach. Yeah.
Well, so people are saying we should get Jurgen Klopp right now. And I know that
No,
you and I talked about the defensiveness of international football. What are your thoughts about that?
again, I love America. I just start with that. I love the USA, favorite place. I want to live there. I just don't think there's no future, there's no reality or dimension where Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool and starts managing the US men's national team. Like,
Yeah.
just out of respect. Like, I don't think he'd even manage the England team. Like, I think he takes a break. There's been talks of him, going up to the boardroom level at Dortmund and kind of, maybe like a chief operating officer or something like, director of football or something, which I think he would do very good at.
He's like
Uh,
65, right?
I have no idea. Like, he can manage for another 15, 20 years, no problem. Like, he's got the energy, he's got the spark about him. He commands
Oh, he's
absolute respect.
57.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, he could easily go for another 15, 20 years, no problem. Like, he commands absolute respect.
Yeah.
I just see him, like, I would love to see him manage the German national team at some point, That I think that he would, who wouldn't want to see him, big smile, international stage, summer championships, either World Cup or Euros. The German team playing his gegenpressing would be fucking insane with the talent they have.
Yeah.
Him doing the stupid fist bump. I say stupid because he obviously did for Liverpool, but like, imagine a whole, crowd of Germans and he's fucking around the beer being spilt. Like, if Klopp manages the national team at tournament, I am going to Germany to watch that tournament. I don't care where it is in the world. I am
Yeah.
watching that tournament in Germany with the Germans with Klopp as the manager because he'll have the whole country behind him. You'll be fever
Oh,
pitch. So yeah,
100%.
long story short, I think it's impossible that he manages the US men's national team. I think it'd be a great fucking appointment. I think you guys would go because you guys have legs. The American and Canadian teams can run up and down all day. And for
Yeah.
Jurgen's style, it might not be super technical, but for Jurgen's style, I think there'll be some damage done there for sure. But I just don't see him. I think Jurgen Klinsmann was a manager for the US men's team a couple of times or for a little while, and he did kind of okay, left a little bit acrimoniously at the end. So I think there must be American. Like, what about Jesse Marsh or some of these American coaches? Like, do you feel like it has to be an American coach that coaches the team, or you take a European? Like, what would be your
100%.
pick if you? Okay.
My pick, and we talked about this the other day. Like first of all, like my feeling about Klopp, and I'm just gonna pull up her lineup. Like my feeling about Klopp is that like I would love it, obviously, and like I think that Klopp would be really good for us because like if you look at our lineup, like we really need
There's
an
something
attack.
there. There's something
Yeah,
there for sure with him. Yeah.
and we need an attacking focused approach because like all of we're
You guys
kind of
lost to
like,
Panama. Holy
like
shit.
our team's good.
No, but
Like
you guys scored first as well, and you lost to Panama. Holy shit.
yeah, we really bottled this game.
Oh,
This
but you guys had a red card in the 18th minute. Then you scored. Fucking hell.
and it was
What a
a
game.
BS red card too.
I was gonna say Timothy Weah as an attacker. What would he have done to get a straight red? Jesus.
And then we also against in I can't remember if it was this game or the other game. We had a goal that was the other team had a goal that was clearly offside. Clearly,
Oh,
clearly
VAR?
offside. And they allowed it. There was
Right, they don't.
VAR.
There was okay.
It's just Copa America is really corrupt, so it's worse than UEFA. Um,
So you
and they also hate America. You know what I mean? Because it makes sense, right? But anyway, like this is a perfect team for Klopp. And I think that one thing that people also underestimate about international football, and we've talked about this today, is that international football is definitely a leg below, club level. And so the coaches just aren't as good. And as we've seen so many times, coaches can have a huge impact on a team.
I would say the coaches maybe not as good, but also they don't get nowhere near as much time as the club coaches get. So to implement, unless you're lucky enough where like a lot of the league where your players play or the clubs which your players play have a similar style to
Yeah.
where, like, imagine like obviously most of England's players come from the Premier League football, and let's say everyone in Premier League is playing Guardiola football, and then Guardiola's England coach.
Yeah.
It kind of makes more sense. It trickles down, it funnels through nicely, filters up. I think actually, you know what? If I was any representative of US men's national team, anything to do with American soccer, fuck it, go all out for Klopp. And the way you sell it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it off the top of my head, you're hosting it in 2 years. Fuck it, be the face of the fucking World Cup. Klopp will slap your face on everything. We will play your fucking style. We have the runners in the midfield. We have the team. Let's just fucking no expectations, really. Just get out the group stage and see if we can take a scalp in the last 16. Fuck it. Enjoy the process.
Also, let me ask you a question. Where do most Europeans like to retire?
Miami.
United States, Miami, Los Angeles, right?
Miami.
And so if you have that be your retirement gig, you're now a legend everywhere. Because let's be honest, no one really knows who Jurgen Klopp is. I mean, maybe in Miami a little bit because there's a lot of Latinos there, but like still no one really knows who Jurgen Klopp is. Now you're a hero in America. Let's say you get us to semis, which I with this lineup with a good coach, I think semis is very possible. People like to shit on Pulisic, but Pulisic literally was on Chelsea when they won the Champions League, right? He's a good player.
Dortmund as well. There's a Dortmund connection between Klopp and Pulisic. They're both Dortmund boys as well. So
were they there at the same time?
Not at the same time, but Klopp really liked him at Dortmund, and Liverpool were very close to signing Pulisic before like a year before he went to Chelsea. He was heavily linked. Like, I believe it was one bad leg injury which stunted the transfer in that window, and then he went to Chelsea.
I will say one thing about Pulisic is that he gets a rep, which is kind of deserved on a national level, on the club level, that he's kind of like a Dembele-ish, just speed type of guy. But when he plays for America, he is an all-around guy. Like it's just like on the club level, he gets shoehorned into that. But for the United States, I'm not saying he's as good as him, but he is kind of like a Vinny. Like he does all of that.
I could see that. I've seen some games when he's playing for the US team where he's the guy. Club football, it's a little bit different. You know, we know in terms of tactically and stuff, so it's harder. But I would say the thing with Klopp is you'd really have to sell the shit out of it. The two things that are going against you is one, his wife. His wife really dictates what he does. So he rejected Man United because it was a fucking joke fucking situation. But also his wife said, I don't think this is the right move. Yeah. And then when Liverpool came calling because he was maybe a third of the way through his sabbatical that year. He took the job because she said, no, this is where this feels right. So he takes her in very strongly. So you'd have to win her over. Depends what she's into. I don't know if she's into the whole Miami lifestyle, retirement in LA and stuff. Who knows? Yeah. The second thing is he is a deeply, deeply like football guy. Like the sparklers, like, you know, being an American legend, none of that he won't give two fucks. For him, it's the football project. Can it expand football? The way I would tackle it, again, not that I'm an expert just off the top of my head, face of the World Cup. You're bringing football to America. The way Pep and the City Group are, you know, trying to take over football in the world, in Europe, with like all these clubs playing Pep's way. It's really Klopp versus Pep, really. This is the modern age, you know, Fergie, Wenger, you know, whoever you want to call. Pep's winning right now just because of the trophies and the money and all that stuff. Klopp's out of the game now. He did his best with Liverpool. He gave him a bloody nose, you know, won the league, won a Champions League as well. Couldn't really maintain it because he wasn't back the same way. Now, how do you get back in the game? Klopp, Jurgen, you're going to be the face of football. The World Cup is coming to America, 2026, baby. Your style, implement your way, no pressure, leave an impact, and then grow the sport. Grow the sport in the country, leave a legacy. Fuck the retirement, fuck the fancy sparklers, all that shit, Miami life. And that might maybe like a 1% chance might swing his head. But I would love to see that. I plan on being in the States by that point, hopefully, touch wood. Living and working out there by that time. So I plan on catching a few games, definitely in Mexico at least. If Jurgen Klopp's running the men's team, that would be fucking insane. Like, and
I would want it to be a type of thing, and his age does play into this, where it needs to be his last coaching stint, because we don't want to see a similar thing happen with Mourinho, where Mourinho, you know, went to Man United and then went to Spurs, and now he's coaching in Turkey. We don't want that type of thing because that could happen with Klopp with the United States. But since he's at the end of his career, it's gonna be like, look, 4 years with America, maybe 6, and then either go to Dortmund and be at the top, or, you know, retire. Plus 25 million. 25 million is hard to say no to.
Money does talk on a certain level, but I think, yeah, Klopp and these modern day managers, they're not in it for life. They're not like the 50 years in the game sort of stuff. Klopp definitely has. I think by the time he's like 62, 65, he's like, I don't think he works past 65 personally. I don't know him. Like, I'm just thinking from previous
Yeah,
interviews. This isn't going to be his whole life. He values family life, work life balance. I think he'll be a director of football or something and still be involved in football in some
yeah.
capacity. Maybe at Dortmund, but definitely in the German set up somewhere. But yeah, maybe like, golf, sell him that thing of like, this is the World Cup in the States. Like you could fuck a generation. You could finally blow the lid off this sport in America and really bring it home, give it that sort of NFL experience, Super Bowl level magnitude of like, let's see where we get. And if they do somehow, get a scalp in the last 16, get to the last 8, play a big team, go out like heroes, then it's forever. Like it's that's it. You've made it. And then you'll be synonymously known as the guy that brought football, soccer to America permanently. Because it
And
had
by
its
the
ups and
way,
downs
if
but
football
not really.
becomes the top 3 sport in America, that changes
You
the
guys will really
complexion.
no. You guys, just based on population, given enough time, you guys will become a top team because anything, just sheer population. If you guys dedicate to a sport, you know what I mean. Like it's not.
Oh, I'm saying the opposite way. I'm saying that like if football becomes a top 3 watch sport in America, it changes the entire complexion of the international sport. It changes everything.
Definitely.
Like if it
Yeah,
gets even if it gets baseball numbers, if it gets
yeah.
basketball numbers, that
Basketball
and then
NFL,
if, and then if it ever gets American football numbers, then we're winning every single World Cup. I'm sorry. It's just
I
like
just treat yeah, you guys just the athletics of it. Like you guys just dedicate that much
yeah.
more to and just on an
You can
purely
change it
athletic
to the
time
American
for
Cup.
tactics. Huh?
Look, you can change the name from the World Cup to the American Cup because we're winning every single year.
America's Cup, yeah, all that's
But
but yeah,
yeah,
I'd be very intrigued to see. I mean, they're definitely getting rid of that coach after that Panama result, I assume. So like, there's gonna be a new manager for the World Cup, I assume.
maybe, maybe not. So just
Really?
some drama. So after the World Cup, we fired him. Then
He came,
we
didn't he? Yeah, something.
came
Gio
back.
Reyna, he had a beef with the Rayners or something, didn't he?
So it was one of the craziest situations. So for people who don't follow American football, I'm going to give you a little bit of a so basically Gio Reyna did the typical like kind of like Jadon Sancho type stuff where he was like showing up late, but basically he wanted more minutes and he started acting out because of it. And to be honest, I think that as a coach of US, you should just give him the minutes. Like
Yeah,
Gio
prove it.
Reyna is a
Shut up.
stud. He's a
I remember.
stud.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of the most like not at Jude Bellingham's level, but I think he's gonna become close. Plus, his dad played, so he has all that. Anyway, so he sat Gio Reyna to the point, like in games where he should have played him because just to make a point in the World Cup. And this isn't Man United sitting Jadon Sancho. Like, we don't have a lot of stars. Like, Tim
Right.
Weah is starring, right? So, like, the entire American fan base was revolting against this. And then the Reynas leaked a story after the World Cup about Greg Berhalter kicking his girlfriend in college because they were friends
Jeez.
with Berhalter in college. But then it boomeranged back on the Reynas, where it was just like, wait, if he knew about this for 20 years, why are you only bringing it up now? Why didn't you bring this up earlier? If you're so concerned, and then the Raiders started to look bad, and then he got fired, and then they looked around, they couldn't find anybody. They asked Zidane to coach. Zidane was just like, no.
Did they actually ask him? That's
Yeah, they asked
ballsy.
Zidane.
That's a ballsy
That's a
move.
ballsy move, yeah.
Don't give a fuck. This guy that headbutts people in World Cup finals. I don't think he's coming. So I don't need your money.
And then, so it was kind of one of those situations. I remember this happened one time when I was in college, where like a girl and a boy broke up, and then they realized after like 2 weeks that everyone else hated them just as much as they hated each other, so they got back together. That was kind of like US and Greg Berhalter. So we might fire him, but then we'll probably hire him again. It's just a toxic relationship. But yeah, do we have anything else to cover, or are we? I think we've covered everything, right?
So, yeah, just so your predictions are what? England, Spain final, eh?
Yeah. When is the final? Is it this weekend?
Sunday the 14th. And then there'll be
Okay.
the third place game will probably be on the Saturday. So all right, if let's say England, Spain a final, who do you think's winning third place? France or probably France,
France.
isn't it?
Yeah. But who knows? Netherlands have a really good defense, and we focus a lot on offensive stars. We don't focus enough on defensive stars, but Van Dijk, De Vrij, and Ake is like if this was a club, you'd say they have the best defense in football.
Yeah, De Vrij is interesting because I've rated him decently, but international level he always looks better in the Dutch shirt than he does at club level for me. Because United were linked with him years ago. He's about 32 now, so he's kind of coming towards the end. This might be his last big one. And De Ligt, I'm glad De Ligt's not playing because it'll just add more to the price tag when we're trying to sign him now from Bayern. But I've been wanting an England-Netherlands game for a long time. I think the last time we played each other was like 2019, that Nations League shit, which doesn't mean much.
Yeah,
but
I hate how they do that shit, man. I hate how they do that shit. Like, let's have meaningful tournaments or not anything at all. Like, let these boys rest. Give these boys some time off.
Ridiculous. I think Spain are the current Nations League holders. So imagine they win the Nations League. No one even talks about it. You know, it's on their shirts, and everyone's asking, like, what's that shit on their shirts? They're not world champions, or like they didn't win the Euro. It's that Nations League.
What is the Nations League?
Quick history lesson, quick thing. They used to have these like friendlies in like the summer and stuff. And they still have the November, stupid, but like November, March friendlies and the summer friendlies. And we were like, what the fuck is the point? You're just burning out the players. So instead of scrapping them, the most UEFA thing they can do is we'll just rewrap it as something else. Like, you know, that CD. It's a bit like that credit default swap, the whole like financial crisis. Oh, we'll just wrap it up, put some bullshit into call it something else. And then, so then they're like, okay, we're gonna have this new tournament. It's not a Euros, it's not a World Cup. It's gonna happen every 2 years in the summer. It's going to be called the Nations League, and it's like these groups, and you're in a different tranche. So like top teams are in tranche A, then there's B and C, and it's a promotion relegation. So England, I think, got knocked down to B because we lost a few games. But it's just so it means nothing. No one gives a. I couldn't tell you what the trophy looks like.
I remember. So I'm in a football group chat. But by the way, I should invite you to. It's very active. There's probably like 100 messages a day. Very active, and I mean on active, literally every day at least 100 messages. On active days it's like 600 700, and so with just 5 people doing most of the messaging, but anyway, but there's some days, you know, if you're ever in an active group, there's some days where you're just like, look, I can't do this today, I need to focus on other things. So like during the Nations League, the most recent one, what was it, last year? I remember during the Nations League, I just looked at it, I was just like, no, I'm not thinking about this. So I've lived through Nations Leagues as a huge football fan, and I have no idea who won. I don't care.
It started in 2019.
Yeah.
I think the Netherlands might have won it. They knocked England out in the semis. 2021, I don't think it happens every 2 years. So it's always the odd years. It didn't happen in 2021 because COVID had pushed the Euros back to 2021.
Yeah.
So I think it happened in 2023 now and again.
Euros. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the fuck happened. I guess Spain won it on penalties apparently, and they have the little badge. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah. Just get rid of that shit, man. Get rid of it.
And the way they sort of try and make it important is like it affects your coefficient ranking in the Euros and the world rankings. So like England were doing pretty decent because they were like quite high up. I think it helped Spain, it helped Italy a few times. Yeah. But it's just like, you know what they should do? Strictly for the under 21s, because the European Championships under 21s, this is a very respected tournament. I used to watch this shit more than I used to watch the regular Euros because it hadn't really blown up in England like that. We never did well in the Euros. Yeah. England's under 21s like lost a crazy like penalty shootout. I think there was like 45 penalties taken or something crazy like that against the Dutch in the semifinals. This shootout went on for about 15 minutes. It was insane. So, and then we lost the final in 2009 to the German under 21s, who then grew up to become the 2014 Germany team that won the actual World Cup. So it was a nice way of seeing the progression of the young players that you know is up and coming. You had just Sami Khedira's, Toni Kroos, Mesut Ozil's in that young final in the 2009 under 21 final. Then you watch them in the World Cup a year later, knock England out, and then win 4 years later. So I think doing something like a Nations League, combine it with the under 21 Euros or something, and just do it for like the young players coming through, the ones that don't get enough players that don't get any game time. So if Ronaldo's playing all your group games and he's 39, let the young Portuguese attackers play this fucking Nations League.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That way everyone gets a game. But then they won't get enough eyes on it. You know, it's all political. They won't get enough eyes if it's just the under 21s, they believe.
But then make it under 23.
Under 23s as well. Anything, yeah. Or do it like the Olympics where you have the young team, but you can have 3 like out and out starters involved, like over 25 or over 23 players in the Olympics. They do. So this year,
switch it from game to game. Like that's good. I mean, here's the thing, Dak. People, first of all, coaches and then leagues should just hire us. Like why are they not hiring?
Yes, I would do a good job. I feel like we do a good job. There's passion
All
in it.
right.
It wouldn't even feel like a job. Like we would just want to improve the game overall.
So I've seen Anek yawn a couple times off camera, so I'm gonna spare him. But just some quick programming notes for the people who have stuck around and watched for an hour and a half. I don't think it's anybody, but yeah, we just keep on talking. Two things. First, we're probably gonna start doing some one-off videos during the week, some like 4 or 5 minute videos where we just like talk about a specific thing, maybe do some formation breakdowns. I think that'd be interesting. And then two, we're gonna start doing some shorts from time to time. And Anek promises after the England game that he's gonna be available to do a short, and we're gonna do a 1 minute reaction of Anek. So
Wednesday
get
night.
ready for that. No, because
Yeah.
shorts get insane. They get insane
It's quick,
fucking.
it's digestible. It's very easy. It comes up on your YouTube. It's right there. It's a 30-second, 1 minute short, and you get a quick reaction. Yeah, they're very digestible.
It gets like 1,000 views. It's crazy. And then we're gonna have a little footy talk. It'll be good. So
Oh.
yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording now.